Charles. I'm a psychologist, but first and foremost, I'm not immune to the challenges that life throws, the things that we face. But it is important to face them authentically. And I hope in many ways that the start of this For the People, by the People project gives people some of the courage that they need to face the challenges that come ahead.
Hi Charles, thank you for being here, and thank you for kickstarting this initiative. Yes, can you just introduce yourself, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Charles. I had the great pleasure of speaking at a TED Talk about 3 or 4 days ago, and starting and speaking about this project. It's been something that came to mind that I wanted to do about a year and a bit ago, and there were certain tipping points during the year that led me to eventually say, this is something that I want to do. I think I decided it on the 31st of December at the end of 2017. And ever since, it's been about 8-9 months of, it's almost like a baby, of developing and thinking and how to do it, and trying to get the right people on board, people that have something to share and something that we can all connect with, something that's relatable. And it's been rewarding, but at the same time, it's been crazy. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with that.
So you say there were tipping points that led to this initiative. Do you care to elaborate a little bit about these tipping points that kind of kickstarted all of this For the People, by the People initiative?
I think context is always important. So I think it's important for me to sort of remove myself from my profession, and that's being a psychologist. But I think in saying that, I think I need to put a disclaimer that working in mental health is a result of myself, as well as a result of how I engage with people. It's almost that I need to be immune. I need to not experience some of these things, that I've always got the antidote and the cure to this stuff. And that's not the case. I sort of believe, and I heard it in a mental health talk that I was at, and it's something that resonated with me because it completely typified how I understood mental health. But it was that mental health is very much like a glass, and it has different shapes as well as different carrying capacities. I think I'm going to start sort of my journey from there. The first time that I would say my glass got filled was as early back as 3, 4, when you started becoming a lot more aware of what was going on. My parents got divorced soon after I was born, and my dad chose to be with another woman, with another family, and my half brothers. And for me, I internalized that as a rejection, that the life that I could lead was less significant or less valuable, worthless in comparison to them. And it was probably very far from the case, but that was my reality. And then probably the second thing that filled or shaped my cup or increased the density was a moment when I was, I think, 5, 6, 6, 7, and my mom and I had recently relocated to Botswana, and I was in primary school, and she was busy at work, and she, there was a bus system or carpool system that used to take us to school, and obviously there was a payment that had to be done. So on the one morning she gave me money to pay for the bus, basically, for that month, and I paid that. And that afternoon I was supposed to be, doing, afternoon activities, but I came home a bit early, and the bus dropped me off. I got home, I saw my mom's car was parked there, and then I walked into the house thinking, hey, mom's here, and she wasn't, and I sat down, ate lunch. She did come, I think, about 2 hours or so later, and when she did come, I sort of asked her, like, where are you coming from? I saw her carrying her work bags. I was thinking the car's there, and she basically told me that, the money that she had given me that morning was basically the end of it, and she walked and commuted to work, and for me that was also a second moment where I internalized this fear, and a fear of failure, a fear that I think in some way was connected as well to that rejection, a fear that I couldn't fail someone that was saving me from a rejection, a fear that I couldn't fail the single mom that was sacrificing and doing a lot for me. So that's sort of where it began, and obviously I'm a bit more aware of it now, but it took me a very long time to get there. And I think I grew up, and I wasn't aware. I knew it was something that sat within me. It was something that took a hold of me, and obviously rejection and fear of failure, they intertwine. They work quite well together for some reason. So there were so many moments in my life. I think the most difficult was when I was in grade 2. I was bullied quite a bit. I was born with a cleft palate. I don't know if you can see it there, and the kids used to call me Molomoka style, and that sticks and stones may break my bones, type of things, but words, they hit hard and they sit hard, and so I that was a rejection, and that's something that I internalized, and I think in many ways it prevented me from being as good as I can be. Then I think it sort of lifted a bit towards my high schooling. I had a completely new chance to I don't want to say reinvent myself, but I think that's the phrase I'm going to use, reinvent myself, and sort of forget about that, but it still lingered. It's still something that I faced, and it continued on and on for a good while, and then I got to about matric, and it still so vividly sits with me. I think this was the moment when I sort of knew I have a fear, and that was halfway through my matric year, and one of my teachers at that time told me, basically, the marks you have, they're very incongruent with what you want to do. And I was shit scared. I was shit scared because in many ways that, one, I internalized that as a rejection, but two, that fear of failure kicked in. But I think from that moment I manipulated my mind. I manipulated it, and I said I was determined to prove him wrong. But that was a motivation. I was using fear as a motivation. And I was using fear to drive me. But the difficulty with using it is it was also an Achilles heel. And I failed it in many moments in my varsity life thereafter. I think the most significant was definitely not my academic, but I think in my interpersonal relationships and in my intimacy, just because that was something that I was still carrying. And it was heavy. It was really heavy.